Hey, how's it going? This is Joe and Tell. This is going to be a quick review of the Monolith MM-5R powered bookshelf speakers. So first, a quick message from our show sponsor.
Hi-Fi Summit Gold sponsors, SVS. Most people know them for their amazing subwoofers, but they also have a wide range of bookshelf, floor standing, rear, and Atmos speakers. Check them out at svsound.com. And OSD Black. OSD Black is making a big push into the home theater segment. From their line of Travoce subwoofers to their home theater speakers and other products designed for custom integrators. Make sure to check them out at osdblack.com. And our silver sponsors, Parasound, Cherry Amplifier, MoFi, and Larson Speakers. In these times, I'd love to be around my family and friends. I'd love to travel, take my family out, go out to dinner, but we just can't. So you see things like Zoom, Google Meet, FaceTime, different ways to use technology to communicate with one another. And in some ways, we're finding that we're communicating more than ever. Brands and consumers still need to find a way to communicate, and that's what the Hi-Fi Summit is all about. It's a place where consumers can see and hear from their favorite companies, and companies can in turn answer questions and get feedback from consumers. There's also no shortage of fun. We're gonna have an after party with DJ Techno Dad. We'll have giveaways like the one from Morphdale giving away the Diamond 12.1 bookshelf speakers. We'll have fun and engaging seminars, and on the last day, we focus on attendees. You'll be able to check out other people's systems as well as showing off your own. Don't miss out on this amazing event happening October 22nd through the 26th. Get your tickets today.
So Monolith sent these out for me to review, the MM-5Rs. MM stands for multimedia, so I assume that they plan on you using these at your desk. Now, these are $3.99. I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to check them out if you like them. First thing I noticed is this has a nice rounded enclosure. I like that. It also has a nice matte black finish on the version that I received. Now, at this price range, you don't really expect to see something with this nice of a finish. It does have a matte black finish, so it does attract fingerprints. Now, this is shorter, wider, and deeper than those triangle speakers that I reviewed recently. The one thing that I like is on the back here, they chose to go with a slotted port. I'm a fan of slotted ports. This one here is on the top, and it allows the speaker to go all the way down to 42 Hertz, according to them. From what I found, that is true. And that is amazing for a speaker this size. So as far as the woofer, it's using a 5 1/4 polypropylene woofer. The tweeter on this is a 2.6-inch AMT air motion tweeter. So this is a ribbon tweeter, and it reminds me of the Kanto TUK that I reviewed a while back as far as using an AMT tweeter, but also the look of it. You know, you see some similarities there. Regarding features, this has aptX Bluetooth, it has USB, optical, RCA, and also another thing I thought was cool is it has USB power, so it's 5 volts, 2 amps, and it's handy because I use a Chromecast audio, so I can plug it in directly there. I don't have to find another port, another plug for it. I can just plug it into the back of that speaker, so that's very handy. This does have a front dial that allows you to change the volume as well as pressing it in to change the inputs. The remote control on this is very simple, and it does have tone controls, so thank you for that. On the website, it says that this is a Class AB amp, which is not typical. Normally you see Class D amps in powered speakers nowadays because it's more efficient. So I checked the back plate of the amplifier to see if it got hot, and it remained relatively cool, so that's good. So on the website, it currently says that it's biamped, but that is not correct. That's actually a different speaker that they have, so that's a typo on their end, and you can tell because it only has one cable going from the plate amp to the other passive speaker. So their wattage rating also says that it's a certain amount for the woofer and the tweeter, but again, because it's not biamp, that can't be possible. So I'm not exactly sure what the actual wattage is. Maybe somewhere around 50 watts per channel, 65, somewhere around there. So all I can say is it gets loud enough near field and in my living room. This also does have a subwoofer output, so you can use it with a sub. It does not have a high pass or low pass crossover. And I'm happy to say that this does have a headphone jack on the front, and all I can say is it works. It's not the best headphone amplifier. It doesn't produce a lot of power, and you'll notice that with less efficient headphones, they'll struggle with those bass notes. Another cool thing is that it comes with some stands for your desk to elevate the speaker to reduce that first reflection, and they're not just some cheap foam pads. They're actually made out of wood, and they are painted the same as the speaker itself, so it matches perfectly. Very nice touch. Very surprising that they would include that because it's extra cost, But that's awesome. One thing this does not have is it does not have a grill cover. So if you have a cat or kids, just keep that in mind. Regarding the sound, I noticed that it had a wider than average soundstage. So it sounded wider than most speakers in this price category. Good job. So the highs on these were smooth, they were rolled off, and what I would consider non-fatiguing for most people. The bass on these is where it really shines. This thing has some serious bass for the size, for anything in this price category. Kind of reminds me again of those Kanto TUKs that had ridiculous bass. So as far as the cons, this does have audible hiss. That's one of my pet peeves. I don't like to hear anything from the speakers unless something's playing. And near field at a desk, that can be an issue. And so these are louder than normal at any volume, right? So I can turn it down, I can turn it up, and I can still hear that amplifier. I was hoping that the Class AB would eliminate that, because that's a common problem with inexpensive Class D amps, but this is Class AB, I've confirmed with them, and it still has some hiss. The other thing is, this doesn't have HDMI. I understand licensing, it costs more money, but I would like to see that in more powered speakers. This does not have a phono input. If you want to connect this to a turntable, you're going to need to get a separate phono input. And as far as the frequency response on this, it's relatively spiky. I mean, by listening to it, you can tell that it's not a flat speaker. It has some character. It almost seems to have some kind of BBC dip here, but then afterwards it spikes up really high for the treble, and that's something I noticed on the TUKs also. It had an erratic frequency response. I'm not sure if it's because of the AMT and the way that they've implemented it. Luckily, you do have some tone controls, but I don't think it can fix all of those issues. Again, the highs on these are rolled off, which makes them non-fatiguing, but to the point where you almost feel like you're losing detail because it is really rolled off. You can bump that up, but just something to consider if you like that extra detail. These aren't detail kings. So overall, my conclusion is that I would prefer these in a small living room, preferably with a subwoofer. It might not need it because it can hit some pretty good lows depending on the type of music and the content that you're going to throw at it. But I would prefer it in that situation because the hiss is just too much for me near field, right? So I know that they were targeting multimedia, but they really need to get that noise floor down, in my opinion. So these are like a mini version of those Kanto TUKs that I reviewed a while ago using the AMT tweeter. Smaller, less expensive version of those. So at $399, I think that these are a decent value.
Speaker leaderboard, we'll go through this quickly. Where do they place? MM-5R, powered speakers. I'm going to go ahead, powered speakers. This is tough between these two powered speakers. Pretty close. I'm going to have to give it to the triangles just because those didn't have very much bass. If you like bass, go ahead and put this above here. But the triangles, I felt like if you added a sub, they'd sound better than these. These are just kind of hard to correct as far as the frequency response. So somewhere like this, right? I think that's fair. Now, as far as best bookshelf, let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and put these. Again, if you like bass, put them above. If you prefer a smoother treble response, put the triangles above that. So that's where I'm going to put them right now. Let's see here. Best for desktop. For desktop, I didn't really like these at the desktop at all. So I'm going to go ahead and put these somewhere around here. Something like that. So these are under $500. Where do these place? I'm going to have to put them right around here. I think that's about fair. Maybe above that. Okay, and then finally, best overall sound regardless of price. I think they're going head to head with this triangle. These are very close. It's just that it depends if you like bass, the triangles. So, I could easily do this, right? But just because I'm just considering the overall response, I think a lot of people, based on those the sound comparison, they did like the Monolith more than the triangle. And so I think most people would actually put it that way. But I'm going to go ahead and do it like this for right now.
So there are other speakers in this price category. There's a lot of competition. So some things that they do better than other speakers and some things that other speakers do better than these. But you're going to have to just weigh those options and see what you like best. But once again, thank you to Mono Price for sending these out to me for review. If you like the video, make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. And again, thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thank you for supporting me, allowing me to do what I love to do here on YouTube, patreon.com/JoeAndTell. And I actually have some exclusive content on there. You're also going to find that I'm going to start selling some of the stuff that I have here. I just have way too much stuff. So I'm going to sell it on there on Patreon at a heavily discounted rate. So grab it if you're interested. Anyway, that's it. Take care. Bye-bye.